Hello, everyone. This is Seewing Yee from the Year of Literacy Network. Thank you for attending. And this is another presentation on the government VA foreclosure. And this property is located in El Paso, Texas. All right. And this is a very unique. Normally, in the past, El Paso, Texas, the VA foreclosures that we've been getting are pretty consistent, typically around $110,000, $130,000, renting for $1,000 monthly rent, and it will be mostly active duty soldiers from the neighboring U.S. Army Fort Bliss uh, that are renting. So in this case, this is a different location, just so you know, and I'll show you where. This location a little bit different. It is located usually the neighborhood where there's a mass amount of renters, active duty soldiers are in the like southeast of the Fort Bliss, right, within the 5 mile radius. But in this time, the property is located right here at the black dot, right, and consequently the it is located to the north of Fort Bliss. So as you can see here, see Fort Bliss right here, and that's where the location of this property. So normally, the highest concentration of military renters are located right down here, right? But this time it's here, but in a good way. So this is a diamond in a rough, meaning that we're very lucky to stumble upon this particular property in this location. And I have to say, this location it has to be the best neighborhood in El Paso, Texas. Now, El Paso, Texas, you may not know, is located all the way to the west side of Texas, bordering New Mexico. But it's a very fast-growing city. People heard about the big four of the big popular cities for real estate: Houston, Dallas, San Antonio, and Austin. But not too many people have heard on the secondary markets like here in El Paso. But suffice to say, it's a very strong market, very growing. It's a very healthy population and job growth and real estate market as well. So this is a military town, as you know, so it makes it the renting situation even more stable. And another reason why the research that we all should take is the reason I'm telling you right here that determines what is the rental market post. So and the post is very good. It has exceeded my benchmark even in terms of the hot rental market activity. What I mean is this property is a 4 bedroom, 2 bath, 1956 square foot. All right, so very large, larger than normal this property, so it will get better rent. As you can see here, the estimated rent could be as high as 1,500. So I would say this property will probably comprise of projected tenants, maybe 50% active duty U.S. Army soldiers could be renting, or there's a chance the other 50% will be a regular person renting from you. So it's a very healthy market for the reasons I'm going to show you right here. 4 bedrooms. I put a search for the past 12 months within a 3 mile radius, and we see like 49 different 4 bedroom properties here are being rented. And as you can see right here, let's search for similar 2,000 square foot and see how is the potential rent. So something close would be this one here, a mile and a half away, and this property is a little bit bigger, a couple of 100 feet bigger, and it's renting already for 1,700 back in September of 2019. So, all right, so that's the only comp for 4 bedrooms that we can see. So 1,500 projected rent is a very realistic number, but 49 properties, that's good within 30, within 3 mile radius. But if I switch over to which is 3 bedrooms are more common. So let's look at 3 bedroom in this same area in a 3 mile radius. You see how many properties are being rented. And just to go to show you how healthy this rental market is, just give me a moment. This computer is a little bit slow. As you can see, wow, 132 3 bedrooms are being rented in this 3 mile radius. So it tells me this is on a historical basis. This neighborhood is a very strong rental neighborhood. So we should feel very, very confident and very comfortable that you will get your tenant in very, very, fairly easy. And then if it is a military tenant, potentially you could expect them to stay at least 3 years at a time, because that is their duration of their tour if the soldier is married with dependents, if you will, right? So even if it's not, so expect this could be a good long-term tenant base with very low vacancy and very low maintenance factors and all that stuff. So we expect to be the highest level of tenant. So I would say this neighborhood, I would give it a B to B plus neighborhood. So that's a very good thing. Okay, so let me see what else we didn't know. Now, in terms of estimated repair costs, we do not know, because like us in any foreclosures, you buying us if you're buying just like the subject to, right? So the burden of repair costs is on the buyer. So any kind of repair costs you have to, after you if your offer get accepted, then once you pay for the inspection report a week later or whatever, then you will determine, the inspector will determine what is the potential repair cost. But we always assume on this type of property that I handpick for my investors, that the repair will be cosmetic, hopefully, right? Nothing, no major foundation. Otherwise, this property would not be certified by the VA as a Vendee Financing 5% down eligible, right? So let me see, 16 pictures on here. Let's look at the interior. It's hard to see by the picture, but we can always judge accordingly do the best we can by visually looking at the pictures here. So let's take a look. So everything is very clean, or not the most modern looking. So this property is built, a few years ago. We look at that, but the interior look like it has been cleaned out, so it looks very functional. We have to assume the electrical and the foundation has been upgraded, is functional, is working properly. So here we go. Here's the kitchen and the living room. Good that is not carpet, so there's nothing to replace normally. So as an investment home, you do not want to overdo things. You do not want to over repair things. So if everything is functional, that should be good. Okay, you should minimize your cost of repair to the best way possible, as long as everything is safe, turnkey, and rentable to a prospective tenant ultimately. Okay. All right. So everything looks good. Mostly cement floor. I'm not sure, it was maybe the bedroom, there's some carpet, but a very large room, so you can command more rent because of the extra bedroom, which is a 4 bedroom here in El Paso market, Texas market. So the backyard is quite large. So yeah, I mean, everything looks good. All right, I'm sure you'll agree. So anyway, let's scroll down to see, again, the estimated rent is $1,500, and we can feel very comfortable about that. Let me see what the listing agent said. This home located in Chaparral Park is under $75 per square foot. Now that is amazing, right? So if the property is 1,956 square foot divided by the list price, by the list price of this property, then that's what you equal to the square foot the way it is. All right. So this price, what is this price? Let's review this once again. This price is 145,000. So very, very good price, 145,000. All right, so 1,500 square foot. So let's look at the let me see what else did they say about the property. Yeah, basically a basic description. All right, and then built 1987, so a mere 32 years old. Uh, so let me see what else. Just came into the market yesterday, right? Listing removed. Not right now, it's back in the market, I believe. All right. I'm not sure until I talk to the listing agent. So we have to assume this is in the market. Uh, like any other property I pick for my investors, is you always got to prepare with a multiple offer situation. So that's how it goes. This is a challenge associated with VA foreclosures, right? Because these kind of properties are very desirable and the demand exceeds the supply. So expect multiple offers. And another value add, which is surprised me really, the Zillow said that the nearby school under Zillow elementary school is 10 out of 10. So that is a very added surprise. And then the middle school is not rated 9 out of 10 and high school rated 6 out of 10. So knowing about the El Paso market, we have to conclude, you guys as well, that this is the best school district in El Paso, for sure. Okay, and let me see what else we need to go over now. Other than that, let's go over the cash flow analysis. Right, that is the next step. And I always show you the three scenario. The first scenario are the people that already qualify for the 5% down Vendee financing, which the most important qualification is that you have 2 years of documented rental property ownership experience, mainly that you qualify for the 5% down. So with a tremendous only 3.5% interest rate on this mortgage, so that'll give you even higher cash flow than normal because of this historic low rate with the Vendee financing on this special loan, which is Vendee financing are not part of the Fannie Mae lending guideline. It's not even comparable, right? So which is much better really. So so 5% down multiplied by the purchase price 145K is equal $7,250 plus closing cost $3,000 plus the estimated repair cost. I put 3,500. Who knows? Could be 5,000. Could be 7,500. But so that's the only unknown is the potential repair cost that you as a buyer have to absorb. So you have to be open about that, right? You have to know the expectation when you buy a VA foreclosure. You buy subject to, right, everything. All the additional conditions are bear by the buyer. The risk is bear on the buyer, which is you, right? So as long as you know that, as long as you know the expectation, it doesn't, if repair cost is higher than whatever, 3,500, 5,000, 7,500, if the cosmetic repair cost is that amount, you have to determine what this kind of property will fit within your criteria. But at the same time, whatever you incur as a repair cost above and beyond the down payment and the closing cost, you have to offset that by how much the VA seller has reduced the price to make it worthwhile for you to buy. So normally the VA seller are, they're pretty reasonable and they're pretty smart. If they know a property has been have a certain amount of repair cost estimation, then they will lower the price versus the neighborhood comps to make it workable for you, and then some. So normally I use a generic expectation that any VA foreclosure properties have a 10 to 20% below market versus the neighborhood comps. All right, so that's another win, another benefit for the investor. All right, and so so the $1,500 gross rent is very, very favorable. All right, and minus the 5% vacancy factor equals monthly for operating income $1,425 minus the even though the property taxes in Texas are high, is all about the big picture. Is all about the net cash flow and the resulting return metrics that I'm going to share with you momentarily. Okay, so the property tax is $253 per month, which is less than 2% of the purchase price. You know, some property in Texas are at the 2% or even slightly higher tax rate from the purchase price. So in this case, it's not even reaching 2%. So which is good. It's like, you know, insurance is typically $51 per month. 10% property management fee equate to $143 per month. And then you have the 5% vacancy factor, which I put in. Then operating expenses monthly is $522. Then the monthly mortgage you have to pay with only 5% down, tremendous leverage to make your return higher, right? So 3.5%, which is amazing, very historical low for an investment loan, which is amazing, amazing, amazing. That's another added value, added benefit that you do not see with other investment properties now or ever in history. All right. So Vendee Financing is a very unique loan program, extremely beneficial to those investors that qualify for this kind of a purchase system, the VA foreclosure system. Okay. All right. So your monthly mortgage is $618. So monthly mortgage is $618 plus your operating cost of $522, right? You see from reduce that from the gross monthly rent of $1,500, right? Very, very simple calculation equals a monthly net cash flow of $285, right? So very, very attractive rate, right? So yeah, so therefore, all these numbers look very attractive. The capitalization rate is 7.5%. The cap rate is higher than the benchmark, which is typically 6%, right? So capitalization rate is your total debt, total annual debt obligations, total debt service, excluding your mortgage, divided by purchase price equals your capitalization rate, which is technically is the rate of return. Okay, from a very pure technical definition, capitalization rate. But the cash on cash return is 23% anytime. Cash on cash return is at the double-digit mark, as in this case, is a very, very high capitalization rate. So 23% is extremely, extremely good. This means that your net annual cash flow, right? Your monthly net cash flow, 285 times 12 months. Your net annual cash flow is $3,419. So you determine how many years it takes for you to to pay back the down payment, which is $14,750. So 3,419 from 14 divided by 14,750. That means at the end of the fourth year, your net annual cash flow will pretty much pay your total cash out of pocket. All right, makes sense? That's pretty simple. And most importantly, the third financial indicator is your total return investment, which is a whopping 61%, which is amazing, right? This is pure total ROI, which combines your annual net cash flow plus your annual principal reduction at the end of 12 months. When you pay down your loan, you get some benefit out of it, right? You got some return out of it, which is in this case $26.44. Don't tell me how we calculate this. It's rather technical. And then I only put in like 2% annual appreciation increase, which is very conservative. At the end of the first year, it'll be like $2,900 equity growth. I'm not even talking about the 10 to 20% discount that you're getting on the front end. So your return is much higher than 61%, even since I did not include the after repair value, because when you buy via foreclosure, typically, like I said, 10 to 20% discount, right? Anyway, all the numbers look really, really good. All right, so this is the 5% down. And so then let's go over the second scenario for those of you that do not qualify for the VA financing 5% down. You can still use a conventional loan of 25% Fannie Mae lending guideline. And this scenario does not require that you need to be 2 years of rental property ownership experience. You could be a newbie, you could be anyone, as long as you qualify to get an investment loan and you have the money to pay for the 25% down payment, you qualify to buy this property. So there you go. All right, so you're putting 25% down. You put so your total out of pocket will be around 43,000. So you have more equity into the property with a higher down payment. So therefore, however, the Fannie Mae lending guideline is such that your interest rate on your loan is 4.3%. So it's higher than the Vendee financing. So 4.3% is very low these days. The rates has gone lower due to various reasons right now economically. So 4.3% is a very good low rate for a 30-year amortized note. So your monthly mortgage is 538. So you factor in all the debt obligation, then your monthly mortgage from your monthly rent of 1,500. So you have a net cash flow is higher, right? You put more than a down payment, $365. And the return on the financial indicators are once again very attractive. The only thing that is a little bit different are the cash on cash return because you put more down payment in there. So your cash on cash return is a little bit lower, and your total returns are lower because you have less leverage than this time you have 75% loan to value. On the previous example with the 5% down, you have 95% loan to value. So okay, but the number still looks good. And all right, so nothing wrong to buy 25% down. And finally, the last scenario, we using your self-directed IRA to buy. So self-directed IRA is your IRA is going to qualify, not you, right? So therefore, you do not need a tax return. You do not need to submit a credit score and all that stuff like you normally do on your regular full loan documentation. So I teach people how to use their self-directed IRA to buy, right? So you buy in the name of the IRA, no qualification other than you put minimal. If you buy an investment property that are typically more than $100,000 benchmark, then you can leverage yourself with a 50% down payment on a non-recourse loan, right? So you can get a non-recourse loan at 50% of the purchase price. So so you pay a little bit higher rate on a non-recourse loan. A non-recourse loan means that you, in case you default on the property, the non-recourse lenders can come after the equity of the property only. They cannot come after your personal assets. So which is good, right? All right, so the 50% down non-recourse loan at 5.5% projection. So you have you're inside your IRA, you have a extra loan payment you have to pay. The IRA going to pay for this extra monthly debt to the tune of how much? $411, right? So you add that to the monthly rent of $1,500 minus your monthly non-recourse loan of $411, and then all your other monthly debt obligations that we discussed earlier. Then at the end of the day, you have a very nice return. Here it is, right? You put more down payment on, right? So your total IRA you can put down, including closing costs and repair costs, which will come out of your IRA, is $80,000. So if you think about it, $80,000 IRA is used to buy a $145,000 property, right? So it's not too bad. Although, historically speaking, technically speaking, most people, when they buy any kind of asset with their self-directed IRA, they normally thought they can pay the full purchase price. But since you're part of my network, I taught you how to use your non-recourse loan, but only if the property is more than 100 grand, because the minimum loan payment, the minimum loan amount for non-recourse lending is 50,000. So if you do the simple math, $50,000 minimum non-recourse loan, so the other 50%, $50,000 has to be from your IRA. So the minimum property is 100,000, right? You can stretch it with a non-recourse loan, right? So we have to, of course, we have the resources and connection to put you in touch with a non-recourse lender to underwrite this property. But this property will be properly underwritten by the non-recourse lending company for sure, right? Because of the cash flow situation. All right. So at the end of the day, every month after all the debt obligations, your IRA will achieve a monthly net cash flow of $492. This chunk of cash flow will be invested inside the IRA, growing. The money will go back into the IRA, tax deferral into the pot. So you don't pay taxes on it. So that means instead of typically 12% return, you might as well add on 3 to 4 more percent, because if you are in a 28% tax bracket, so your return is higher because you don't pay taxes on the growth of the IRA. So, okay, a powerful, very powerful strategy. So there you go, 3 ways to buy, and that's pretty much it. So this property, just like any other property, for right now, for the next few days, could be available. So ideally, the recap is such that you should enter my program. For those of you who qualify into my program, pay my fee and way ahead of time, then I will work with you one-on-one to find a property that fit your needs before the fact, right? Before the fact, I'll show you how to pick the property before they are gone, because the competition is so fierce out there. Okay, thank you so much. Look forward to talking to you guys. Have a nice day and talk to you soon. This is Seewing Yee. Goodbye.